Hello YouTube, my name is Rachel Mayo. Welcome to my channel and thank you for being here. I'm going to be discussing the effects of the total solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. This solar eclipse is going to be epic. It's going to bring radical change into your life. This is a North Node eclipse. So a North Node eclipse essentially will bring new beginnings. You could have major endings before you get to those new beginnings. If you like the content of this video, please hit like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to find out how this energy is going to affect you according to your own natal birth chart, you can book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. I'm going to be doing a special reading for this eclipse and also for the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, I suggest that you subscribe now so that you may be notified whenever I upload another video. I know I've been missing in action, but here I am back. This solar eclipse is happening in my house of creativity, in my 5th house, so I'm going to create more content. So encourage me, hit like, share, and subscribe. This video is going to only focus on personal zodiac, so there is no mundane astrology. You can get that from plenty of other astrologers on YouTube who have done a great job of breaking it down. I'm going to focus on you and how this eclipse is going to affect you according to your sun sign, your moon sign, and your ascendant. I suggest that you listen to all three so that you get a better picture of how it's going to affect you personally, emotionally. I'm a Western tropical astrologer, so I use whole signs. But when I do personal readings, I use placidus system. I find that to be much more accurate, but it doesn't work when you're reading for a large group of people. So listen to your whole sign ascendant, and if you are going to use a placidus system, I suggest you look for where 19 degrees of Aries is in your chart. You may have to listen to 2 signs. So if you have anything at 19 degrees of the other cardinal signs, pay attention to those degrees. The cardinal signs are Aries, of course, the eclipse is in your sign, Cancer, Capricorn, and Libra. Hey, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, share this video, like this video, and please leave me a comment in the comment section of this video. Tell me how you think this solar eclipse is going to affect you personally, or perhaps you've already started feeling the effects. I want to hear about it. Or you can ask me a question. I always answer viewer questions promptly. So let's get started. April 2024 is probably the most intense month of the year. There is a stellium of planets in the sign of Aries, including the North Node, which is 5 degrees away from this eclipse, making it a total solar eclipse. The sun is going to be totally eclipsed by the moon. This eclipse is going to happen on April 8th, 2024. It's happening at 19 degrees of Aries. The sun and the moon are exactly conjunct Chiron. This is the most exact aspect of this total solar eclipse. Let's not forget about Mercury, who's at 24 degrees of Aries. Mercury is transiting retrograde at the time of this solar eclipse. I'm not going to go into great detail about the mythology of Chiron, simply because there's a lot of information about that, and if you want to know more, you can just Google Chiron mythology. So I'm just going to make it short and sweet. Chiron is an asteroid called the Wounded Healer. We all have Chiron somewhere in our chart. Chiron shows us where we're wounded but cannot heal ourselves. But because of these wounds that we've experienced, we're able to heal others. The Chiron wound was most likely experienced during our childhood. So this is something that we've dealt with for many, many years. Chiron has been transiting in the sign of Aries for the past several years. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It basically deals with the self, the ascendant, the body. So this wound, if you have your Chiron placement in the sign of Aries, is something that is probably physical, something that you can actually see, or it's a physical scar on the face or some damage to the skull, something which is very visible. You cannot hide this wound. And since it's been in the sign of Aries, we're all feeling this woundedness to we've all been feeling this type of woundedness to our identity. So Chiron being conjunct the solar eclipse is potentially going to feel very painful because the sun burns whatever it touches, and Chiron conjunct the moon also makes us feel very emotionally wounded, lacking nurturing or love. So essentially, this solar eclipse is here to heal our Chiron wounds. But like any healing process, we have to take some medicine, we have to take some therapy, and sometimes that therapy or medicine hurts or it's bitter. So we might have this feeling first before we actually experience the healing. So just keep that in mind if you're feeling wounded, you're feeling highly emotional, or you're just feeling like the world is against you. It can feel like that. So if you're feeling highly emotional and wounded, perhaps it's time for you to just have a good cry and release those emotions and that pain. So let's talk about the aspects at this solar eclipse. Mars is the ruler of this lunation. So we have to look at what Mars is doing in this eclipse chart. Mars is transiting at around 13 degrees of Pisces and is conjunct Saturn at 14 degrees of Pisces. This conjunction is a very, very difficult aspect. It's going to feel like you want to take action. You're really passionate, but you cannot, but you're meeting blockages because of Saturn. Saturn is going to be restricting you. And this could be the authorities or the law, or the laws and regulations, or you just have this inner feeling or instinct that the result is not going to be positive if you take decisive and impulsive action at this time. Mars in Pisces is essentially weak. Mars is tired. Mars is transiting the last sign of the zodiac, Pisces. This is where things come to rest. This is where things come to end. But you really have to be careful to not react impulsively at this time, because you're probably not going to like the outcome of your reaction. Be patient, listen to your intuition. Mars is very intuitive and psychic in the sign of Pisces. So this is what Mars is telling us with this conjunction is listen to your intuition, do not react impulsively, because Saturn is there reminding you that the law is watching. Saturn is showing you the blockages, and Saturn is also showing you the restrictions or what could possibly happen if you act recklessly at this time. Advisable to not make any life-changing decisions during eclipses because the energy is very unclear at this time, and Mercury is also moving retrograde. So you might not have all the information that you need to make a well-informed, educated decision. So this energy is really intense. It's triggering. It's Aries, the first house of I want to do something. I want to compete. I am a leader. We cannot be that person right now. We cannot be that person right now because Mars is currently at around 13 degrees of Pisces. Saturn is at 14 degrees of Pisces. They are exactly conjunct. This is really difficult energy because these are the two malefics of the zodiac and they're standing together. Mars wants to take action. He's saying, this is my energy, this is my solar eclipse, for crying out loud, I want to act, I want to react now. And Saturn is saying, hey, slow your roll, you're a bit fuzzy here, you look like you're a bit tired, you need to get some rest, or perhaps you need to sober up, you need to rest before you get home. Mars in the sign of Pisces is transiting the last sign of the zodiac. This is the sign where things come to die. This is where things come to end. So Mars is really not in the mood to be taking action or acting impulsively at the time of this lunation. If you absolutely have to take action at this time, I would suggest that you wait at least until after the cazimi of Mercury and the Sun. You'll have more information at that time. And then Mars at the end of the month is going to be moving into his own sign that he rules, Aries, where all this energy is. So Mars is going to be at home and he's going to be powerful. He's also going to be sharing the same space with Venus. They're not going to be conjunct. They will be in the same house for a while, speaking the same love language. And Mars is going to have the power over Venus when he's in his sign. Venus at this time is combust. She's invisible. She's going to become visible sometime in July. And if you wait a little bit longer, Venus is going to be also transiting her own sign of Taurus. You'll have the masculine energy in the sign that it rules, and you'll have the feminine energy in the sign that she also rules. So this is going to be quite helpful to whatever situation is going on in your life as a result of this total solar eclipse. And most of all, Mercury is also going to be moving direct at the end of the month. We're going to come back to this Mars-Saturn conjunction. Right now, I would like to talk about Venus. Venus is currently transiting in the sign of Aries. Venus is at around 4 degrees of Aries, and she's sextile to Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, who's almost at 2 degrees of Aquarius. This aspect is giving us an opportunity to make a major transformation in our Aries house, in our Aries and Aquarius houses. Venus is the ruler of the transiting South Node. So this means that we have to initiate transformation through or using something from our past in order to get to our North Node, our destined future, which is in the sign of Aries. So we're getting help from our past. Look to your Libra house where the South Node is currently transiting. This is where you're getting assistance from. Something from the past or from your recent past since the South Node has been transiting Libra. This is where you can retrieve something to assist you to get towards your North Node in Aries. However, Venus is considered to be in detriment in the sign of Aries because she is dominant in the sign of Libra or in the sign of Taurus, because these are the signs that she rules. I personally like this placement of Venus in Aries. I don't have it natally. Venus in Aries does not give a shit about what you think about her. She's ambitious, she's driven, she's feisty, she's passionate. She knows how to make money. She gets her own money. So most people may also consider her to be a bit rough on the edges because Venus in Aries does not care about appearances. Venus in Aries will come out bare without makeup. Unlike Venus in Libra, who likes to make everything much, much prettier. Venus in Aries is what you see is what you get. So she doesn't care about niceties, wearing a dress, being polite, wearing makeup, being presentable. She's that bitch who will not hesitate to fight for her rights, her values, or whatever she believes in. She's being ruled by Mars, the god of war. So Venus in Aries essentially becomes the goddess of war. So perhaps at this time, this is exactly the kind of woman you need standing up for you, fighting for what you need to get to your destined future. Venus will conjunct the North Node and later she will activate the Eclipse degree and conjunct Chiron around the 20th of April. The conjunction with Chiron will bring love, money, or healing. Venus conjunct Chiron is the Cinderella aspect in Magi astrology. So perhaps some of you will have a Cinderella moment and meet your prince or your princess. This is something that is fated and somewhat auspicious, especially since Venus just conjuncted the North Node. And of course, because of this total solar eclipse in the sign of Aries where she currently is transiting. This could really happen for you if Venus rules your 5th house, 7th house, or your 8th house. And also if you have this conjunction in your lunar return and your solar return. I had this conjunction in my solar return when I met my husband. It was definitely love at first sight. We got married 2 months later. So obviously, this is not going to happen for everyone. But if you'd like to know how this eclipse is going to affect you personally, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. I'm all caught up with my readings, so this means that you won't have to wait very long to get a booking with me. I'm also offering a special reading for the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, so make sure you book now. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe now. Also hit the like button and leave me a comment in the comment section of this video. It really helps my channel grow. I'm focusing more on Venus because she is the ruler of the South Node in Libra, and she's now currently transiting Aries where the North Node is. She's bringing something from the past, the South Node, to the North Node. So Venus is speaking really loudly at this eclipse. Venus will later activate the eclipse point. She's going to conjunct Chiron, the Cinderella Magi aspect, and she's going to conjunct Mercury retrograde after she conjuncts the Sun in Aries. So she's essentially also going to be Kazemi the Sun. She'll become invisible for a few months. We're actually going to see her visibility sometime in July. Venus is setting up something that is going to culminate at the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on the 20th of April. And that's because Venus is the ruler of Taurus, where Jupiter and Uranus are currently transiting. Venus is bringing something really important to our future. It could have something to do with love, money, peace, and negotiations, All these things are ruled by Libra. It all just depends on how all these aspects are aspecting your own natal birth chart. Aries is the first house of the zodiac. It is the natural ascendant. This is the house of I am. Chiron has been transiting the sign of Aries for several years. So we've kind of been experiencing a wound to the self, a wound to our identity. This wound could be a physical wound on your body, a scar on your face, trauma to your head, mental trauma to your head, mental illness, or perhaps it's the ability to be brave and initiate things in your life. Venus conjunct Chiron is here to help soothe and heal these wounds. The prior conjunction of Venus and Neptune probably initiated that healing. Venus conjunct Chiron is now here to bring a soothing balm, a healing balm to that wound. She can also help you heal by increasing your self-esteem. Taurus is the second house of the zodiac. This is the house that rules over our earning ability, our ability to provide for ourselves and our family. So essentially, she also rules over what we love and value. This house also rules over our face, our mouth. So what we eat, what we say is actually going to be very important at this time. And I'm going to keep reminding you that Mercury is retrograde, so be thoughtful in your speech. Mercury is retrograde and will Kazimi the sun after this eclipse. This tells me that we don't have all the information that we need in order to make well-informed decisions. So I suggest that you wait for this Kazimi to happen, and after that, Mercury is going to give you some information that you were lacking. And since it's retrograde, this is information that you probably going to have to go over. This is information that you were probably not clear about earlier, and now the Kazimi is really bringing everything into light and you can now see clearly. However, it doesn't mean that you should react right away. You should hold this information and plan strategically. Remember, Mars is conjunct Saturn. The ruler of this eclipse is conjunct Saturn in the sign of Pisces, where he's also ending things, because Mars in Pisces, the last house of the zodiac, this is where things come to end and die off. Remember that Aries is an impulsive sign. Aries is the sign that will act now and think later. And this is going to be very unwise for anyone to do that during this eclipse. It's actually somewhat a blessing that Mars is currently transiting in a slow sign of Pisces and is conjunct Saturn, who is blocking his action. We really need this aspect at this time. The Mars-Saturn conjunction is receiving a helping hand because there is a sextile to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in the sign of Taurus. There are some positive aspects at this eclipse. The last time Saturn transited the sign of Pisces was about 30 years ago in 1994. Do you remember what occurred in your life at that time? It is the same house that is being activated. However, it's not, whatever happened last time is not going to be the same as this time, because the outer planets are transiting different signs at this time. Precisely the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, we didn't have this aspect last time. And the North Node was transiting in the sign of Scorpio 30 years ago. Mars and Saturn conjunct every 2 years. So this is also like a new moon, a new beginning for them in Pisces. Another new beginning that's going to be exact this month is the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus in the sign of Taurus that is happening on the 20th of April. This is a 14-year cycle. All these conjunctions that are happening at the same time of the solar eclipse add more intensity to this solar eclipse. The time we had the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction 14 years ago was in January 2011. It happened in the sign of Pisces. I'm going to dedicate a video for this conjunction. It should be coming out sometime at the end of next week. So make sure you're subscribed. So who's going to be affected the most by this solar eclipse in Aries? Everyone. But mostly the cardinal signs. The cardinal signs are Aries, the eclipse is happening in your sign, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So if you have any placement at or at 19 degrees of any of these signs, you're going to feel this energy intensely. Aries, this is happening in your sign, so this is all about you. Libra is where the South Node is. The stellium in Aries opposes your sign, so you're going to feel this by opposition. Cancer and Capricorn are going to feel this energy because this solar eclipse is going to square your placements. So you're going to be pushed into taking action. If you were born on or around the 8th of April, you're going to have this energy in your solar return chart. So this is the energy that you're going to have for the entire year. Of course, not every day. So Aries, this is an excellent time for you to book a reading with me so that we can look at that solar return chart and see where this concentrated energy is going to be placed. Which house is it going to be in your solar return chart? Because this is the area where you're going to feel it most. So book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Or if you have points, planets, or angles at around 19 degrees of the cardinal signs, you're also going to feel this energy intensely. If Mars or Venus is your Loi, the Lord of the Year in Hellenistic astrology, or if Mars or Venus are ruling your ascendant for your solar return chart, you're also going to feel this energy intensely, because these planets are going to be highly activated by this total solar eclipse. If Venus or Mars are your Mahadasha rulers, and these are time periods in Vedic astrology, you're also going to feel this energy intensely, or you're probably going to have an event happen because these planets are being activated. This eclipse has been dubbed as the Great American Eclipse because it's actually going to be visible here in America, in Texas. So many people are wondering whether you should go and view this eclipse. Personally, I'm not going to view this eclipse. I'm going to follow the advice of ancient astrologers. Viewing any eclipse could bring bad luck into your life. The other danger is the damage to your eyes. So if you are going to view this eclipse, just make sure you're using the proper eyewear to protect your eyes. Aries, ascendant, sun, or moon. This video is all about you, so please watch the entire introduction. There is information that is going to really help you understand how this solar eclipse is affecting you personally. This is your ascendant. The ascendant is an angle house. So when an angle house is activated, it essentially activates all the other angles in your horoscope. So this solar eclipse is definitely going to change your life. If you're single and looking, Venus conjunct Chiron is the Cinderella aspect. It could bring you a partner of your dreams. You are one of the signs that could really meet your Prince Charming or princess at around this solar eclipse. It doesn't have to be exactly on this day. It could take a few months to a few years to unfold. This is the period where this energy is being unfolded to you. Remember that Venus is the planet that rules your 7th house, your descendant. So this is the area where and Venus is going to conjunct Chiron. This is the Cinderella aspect that I've been talking about. And if you'd like to know more information about this aspect, you can just Google Magi astrology. You'll find out more information about this aspect. And if you had this aspect somehow in your solar return chart, or perhaps you have it this month in your lunar return chart, it could really make something happen for you. I did mention that Venus is the ruler of the South Node in Libra. It could be that Venus is bringing somebody from your past life, or somebody who you had known previously, maybe earlier in your childhood, and they're back in the picture and they're more attractive than ever now that they're all grown up, or something like that. Since the total solar eclipse is happening in your 1st house, this is where you're going to have endings and brand new beginnings. This is going to be epic, Aries, because this total solar eclipse is all about you, your identity, and how you present yourself to others, how others see you. Some of you may change your name. Some of you will have an absolute total makeover. Some of you may come out and tell the world how you identify sexually. Chiron has been transiting your sign for several years. Some of you may have been dealing with a wound, an illness, or some type of mental disorder that has prevented you from being yourself. And perhaps it has robbed you of your confidence. This eclipse is bringing you an opportunity to heal yourself and your identity. Chiron is a maverick. You just never know what he's going to do. So perhaps this healing will first of all hurt. It will be bitter medicine. It may hurt first before you feel better. Remember that the sun burns whatever it touches. So this healing modality might be through some type of heat. Chiron's conjunction to the moon might make you highly emotional. So you might be swelling up with a lot of emotions. You might need a whole crying session in order to feel better, in order to let it out. We all need a good cry sometimes. Some of you will feel unloved and wanting to heal through nurturing. You want to heal through love, through a partner. Venus is your 7th house ruler because it rules your opposite sign, Libra, your descendant. So this means that Venus has a lot of power here, and Venus could bring healing through a partner. You are one of the signs who could essentially have that Cinderella moment. You might actually meet your Prince Charming or your princess, and it's going to feel absolutely fated. This person is going to feel like you've met them before in the past or in a past lifetime. So Aries, if you want to know if this Cinderella moment is really going to manifest for you, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Your ruling planet Mars is not directly aspecting this eclipse. Mars is currently transiting the sign of Pisces and is conjunct Saturn. It is you who's wanting to take immediate action, but most likely you're going to bump into blockages and restriction because Saturn is standing in your way. And perhaps it is a good thing. We all know how impulsive Aries is when it comes to taking action, especially when they're feeling triggered, which is probably going to happen at this total solar eclipse. So I'm going to say it again, Aries, this is not the time to make life-changing decisions. This is your eclipse. It's happening in your sign. But be careful because there is blockages, one, and you are transiting in the sign of Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. You are the first sign of the zodiac. So you are essentially at the end of your journey. You are tired, lethargic, and fortunately, you cannot be impulsive because Saturn is putting a stop sign, and also because you just simply do not have the energy. Mars can only act on a subconscious or intuitive level when he's transiting in the last sign of the zodiac. So please use your intuition. So please listen to your intuition and do not take any rash actions at this time. There will be time for you to take actions, and this is when Mars transits into the sign of Aries. He's going to go home. He's coming from a long journey and he's about to enter home. He will be there at the end of the month, and you will be able to meet up with your lover Venus because she'll still be in your sign when you enter Aries. When he enters Aries, they're not going to have an exact conjunction, but the energy is going to be present in the sign of Aries. And later in the month, Mercury is going to go direct. So when all this intense energy subsides, and when your ruling planet is powerful in his own sign because he rules the sign of Aries, then that will be the time for you to take action. So just be patient, Aries. Your moment will come. So when is the best time to take action? I'd say wait for the cazimi of Mercury and the Sun. This cazimi will provide us with more information. Wait for Mercury to be moving direct before you sign off on anything. But if you have to, just make sure you read the fine print. Taurus ascendant, Sun or Moon. Your ruling planet Venus is highly activated at this lunation, so please listen to the whole introduction of this video for more information. The total solar eclipse is happening in your 12th house. This is where you'll have major endings and new beginnings. This is a hidden house that rules over hidden places like hospitals, prisons, mental asylums. It is the house of seclusion, dreams, and far off places like foreign lands and other worlds. It's the house of rest and dreams and our psychic ability. So please listen to your dreams, listen to your intuition. This house is going to be lit up by this total solar eclipse. So for once, you will be able to see those hidden enemies and how you self-sabotage. So perhaps you're going to get answers from your ancestors through your dreams. Venus is transiting Aries, so you are Venus. You are able to see what's hidden and what's in your subconscious, or perhaps what's in your subconscious. This house also rules over generational karma, and this is karma that you earned because of past because of your past generations, your ancestors. This is not because of something that you did, it's something that they did, and because you belong to this family line, you've inherited this karma. So perhaps an ancestor has a message or a resolution to how you can heal your wounds. This is also the house of loss. So perhaps some of you will experience some type of financial loss in repayment for some bad decisions, habits, or the sins of your ancestors. If there were spiritual healers or psychics in your past generation, this is the time that your third eye will open. And you may decide to use these healing abilities to help heal others. Or perhaps you may go out and seek some type of alternative spiritual healing. You will benefit greatly from prayer or spiritual guidance. And for those of you who are struggling with addictions, this is an excellent time for you to go to rehab and go and seek treatment. Gemini ascendant, sun or moon. This will be a favorable eclipse for you because Gemini sextiles Aries. This aspect will bring beneficial opportunities for you to take action. To take action that will bring positive results. That will bring positive results to your Aries house. Your ruling planet Mercury is currently transiting retrograde in the sign of Aries and is going to be Cazimi the sun. Please watch the whole introduction because I speak more about this aspect. You are a Mercury, so you are the one who might be delivering this news that is essential for your healing, or you might be getting news that is going to help you towards your healing. I suggest you wait until after the Cazimi. Better still, wait until your ruling planet is moving direct before you make any life-changing decisions. The total solar eclipse is happening in your 11th house. This is where you'll have major brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings. The 11th house is the house that rules over our hopes, dreams, and wishes. This is the house that rewards all the hard work that we do in the 10th house. So essentially, this is where you receive the accolades, the promotions, and the financial windfalls. So some of you will have a new beginning because you have received a promotion, or you have received some type of recognition that places you highly in the groups, that gives you a higher standing in the groups that you belong to. The 11th house also rules the groups that we belong to, the social media platforms. It also rules our friends, our uncles, our aunties. It also rules over our benefactors, people that come into our life to improve it or help us to achieve our hopes, dreams, and wishes. So you could have a new beginning that you meet a benefactor at this time who's willing to help you to perhaps start your new business, or perhaps they can help you get a membership into an exclusive group. This will be very healing for you if you were somehow excluded in some type of group, or you felt like you could not belong in a certain group. So if some of you had a problem with a friend, an uncle, an elder sibling, this is the time that you could essentially start healing this relationship. This eclipse could absolutely change your life. Cancer ascendant, sun or moon. The moon is your ruling planet, so you're always affected by any type of lunation, especially eclipses. I suggest that you listen to the whole introduction to get more information. The total solar eclipse is happening in your 10th house. This is an angle house. So whenever an angle is activated, it activates all the other angles in your chart. This will be a life-changing eclipse for you, and you may be pushed into taking action. So practice some patience, because this is not the eclipse to act impulsively as much as you would like to take action. So the 10th house is the area where you'll have major brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because in order to start something totally brand new, something has to come to an end. So realize that this eclipse is going to have you feeling a bit triggered. People from all areas in your life might be triggering you. This is the aspect of the angle. It's a Mars energy. People pushing you, and people pushing you and almost enticing you to fight them or to take action. You must be aware of this energy, and there is supporting energy, especially for the water signs, because the Mars-Saturn conjunction happens to be in a water sign, so it is trining you. It is really harmonious energy that is flowing towards your sun sign, your ascendant, or your moon sign. So as long as you use that energy from Mars and Saturn to take constructive, well thought out actions, you will survive this eclipse. Cancer also has supporting energy from the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in the sign of Taurus. This is making a very harmonious sextile. So there is positive energy that you can use. A sextile aspect is an aspect of effort. You have to use this energy, otherwise it just dissipates. So just don't think you're stuck in a corner and you cannot take any positive action. The action that will give you positive results, this is what you want, because the changes that occur at a time of an eclipse tend to last for a very, very long time. And remember, all these situations that are happening right now are leading up to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So the 10th house is a very visible house. Whatever happens here is going to be seen by the public. It is the public space. This is the house that rules over our job, our status in society, the government, or other authority figures. So this could essentially affect you at your place of work. Some of you who have been in a job that they have not been seeing any positive results. Perhaps you don't feel appreciated. This is the eclipse that's going to push you into wanting to quit your job and find another source of income. For others who have been slacking on their job, this is the time that they are going to be actually fired from their job. You're going to be released from this job or situation that you really don't like. Since the 10th house is a parental axis, for some people, it could be that it's something that's really brand new that starts with a parent. And this parent could be your father if he's the more authoritarian of the two parents. It could be the mother or the father. It just depends on your family situation. So you could be experiencing some type of wounding, perhaps also with a parental figure. Perhaps you've had problems, and this eclipse is offering you a chance to mend fences, to heal those bonds with your father or perhaps your mother. Chiron in the 10th house could have done some damage to your public standing. Perhaps it's something that you did, or perhaps it's something about your family that has become public knowledge, and you're carrying this karma of your family with you to the public, and this is a chance for you to heal this energy. So if you have problems with a parental figure or your boss, this is the time that you can actually negotiate some type of reconciliation and heal the relationship. Cancer, you are one of the signs that's actually going to feel this eclipse on a very much more personal and emotional level, because it is the moon that is going to be actually shadowing. It is the moon that is going to be eclipsing the light of the sun. So if you're feeling highly emotional and highly triggered, it's time for you to call someone, have a chat with someone, perhaps that's going to help. That doesn't help and you want to know more about how this total solar eclipse is affecting you according to your own natal placements, I suggest that you book me on my website, rachel-mayo.com. Cancer, hang in there. You could have some really profound change, profound healing with this eclipse, if you don't overreact because of your emotions. Leo, ascendant, sun or moon. The sun is exalted in Aries and trines your sign. This is most likely going to be a positive solar eclipse for you. Of course, depending on how you act and if you can control your emotions. Supporting trines coming from this solar eclipse to your sign. So it's bringing positive energy. This eclipse energy can have things naturally fall into place for you. Your ruling planet, the sun, always plays a big part in any lunation, but much bigger part in the solar eclipse. After all, it is the sun that is being shadowed, eclipsed by the moon. So you're going to feel eclipsed. You are being eclipsed. You are ruled by the sun. You might feel this sense of darkness and hopelessness overcome you about certain situations in your life. This will only happen momentarily because the moon is going to move away from the sun and you're going to have your light back. The sun is conjunct the moon and Chiron, and it's going to later conjunct Mercury. So you are the sun, you're bringing the heat to this situation. Leo, I suggest that you listen to the whole introduction of this video so that you get more information about what's really going on. This total solar eclipse is happening in your 9th house. This is where you have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we begin something, there's always something that has to end. This house is a lucky house because it rules over our future. It rules over our higher belief system. And this is a system that is passed down to us from somebody who we admire or somebody we look up to, perhaps a teacher, a professor. The ninth house rules over higher education. So it's most likely going to be a professor or a priest, because the ninth house rules over religion. Ninth house is the area that rules over foreign languages, foreigners, and foreign lands. The ninth house is where we legalize things, where we sign contract and take them to the government or some type of agency to legalize documents. So therefore, the ninth house will rule over things like your license, visas, citizenship. So these are the areas where you're going to have potentially a brand new beginning. If you've been living in a foreign land and perhaps your reputation there is not so great, you've done something or you've committed some crimes, this will be a chance perhaps for you to heal your image in a foreign country. Or perhaps you're going to leave the foreign country and go back to your own homeland, and this is actually the brand new beginning for you. And some of you may be feeling healed by this energy in your ninth house because perhaps you have decided to go to college or university, and you are the first person in your family to actually make that decision and have a degree. And for some of you, it could be something just as simple as you're getting your driver's license, or you're getting your citizenship, a green card, or perhaps even a change of name. Others of you could have been deceived by a guru or perhaps a priest, somebody that you looked up to, somebody who fed you false ideals, and now you've decided to stop drinking the Kool-Aid. So you're getting this healing in that you're deciding it's time for you to have your own higher belief system. Some of you could be concluding a lawsuit that has been going on forever, and it's kind of really been doing some kind of major damage to the prospects of your future, maybe your freedom. And this lawsuit is probably coming to an end now, and you can begin your future, your new life, without having to worry about the consequences or repercussions that could come as a result of this lawsuit. If you'd like to know how this eclipse is going to affect you according to your own natal placements, I suggest you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Virgo, ascendant, sun or moon. Your ruling planet Mercury is transiting retrograde in the sign of Aries and is going to be Kazimi the Sun. Please watch the whole introduction of this video to get more information. Mercury rules you, so whatever Mercury is doing at the time of this lunation is going to affect you highly. As a matter of fact, you are one of the signs that should definitely not be signing any contracts at this time, because your ruling planet is moving backwards. He's moving retrograde. So essentially that means that you have to go back to your past and look over documents, look over communications and previous agreements before you try and alter any agreement at this time. Mercury is going to go direct at the end of the month, so it's best for you to wait for your ruling planet to be moving direct before you make life-changing decisions. It's not advised to make any life-changing decisions at the time of an eclipse. The energy is too intense. The ruler of this eclipse, Mars, is currently transiting in a sign where he's tired and he doesn't want to take action. He just wants to get home, which he will very soon. He's going to be transiting his own sign of Aries at the end of the month. And Venus is also going to be in her own sign, even though she's going to be invisible. The energy is just generally going to be much more favorable at the beginning of the Taurus season. So Virgo, you actually might be the person that is delivering healing news to someone else, or it could be somebody else delivering some news to you that you may not really like, but that news eventually is going to turn out to be something of a blessing, something good. The 8th house is the difficult house because this is a house where we keep our secrets, other people's secrets, our secrets, and this is also the house where you'll find the secrets that we keep from ourselves. This is a difficult house because when it is activated, transformation has to take place. This house rules over other people's money. It rules over banks, mortgages, inheritances, taxes, this house rules over an earned money or money that we share with another person because we have merged finances. This is a house of true intimacy, true bonding, because you come here and bear your soul with to another person and become one. And earned money is defined as money that you do not work for, given to money that is given to you or loaned to you in order for you to buy a car, buy a house. And another form of an earned money is lottery wins or some other type of financial windfalls. So it's not all bad here, but we have to keep in mind that the eighth house also rules over death, sex, and transformation. There is definitely some type of transformation going on in this area. People who you know, people who you're close to, could be transitioning at this time. You could actually have a death in the family, and because of that death, you inherit money. Or somebody in your family could have an inheritance which they will share with you. It's all very possible. But for those who've been owing money or doing things on the low, this is the time that this is going to catch up with you. And instead of receiving the money, you'll be the person who will have to pay out the money. So as you can see, this is a tricky house. It can go either way. So it's not everybody that's going to inherit money through a death in the family. It could be just from somebody having a lucky break and they decide to share that money with you. At the same time, some of you could be presented with a really high tax bill. Perhaps you were slacking on your taxes. The bill will be due now. This is a very karmic house, so whatever is due you at this time is going to be served to you. Some of you could be feeling emotionally healed in that you've finally been approved for a mortgage. And this means that you're going to be the first person in your family to own their own home. So this is really healing, this is going to be really healing on a deep soul level. Others of you could be healing because you are finally separating from your spouse who's been taking advantage of you, and it's now time for you to separate it. It's now time for you to separate your finances. This way you can make your own decisions, and you can make your own decisions about what to do with your money, and you don't have to share your finances with them anymore. This is the house which can really make it or really break you. Virgo should not be discouraged by the things that I said. It doesn't mean that this eclipse will not turn out marvelous for you. It probably will. And simply because you have a harmonious sextile to your sign from Saturn and Mars in the sign of Pisces. So as long as you are careful in the actions that you take at this time, it's very likely you will experience positive transformation as a result of this eclipse. Virgo is an earth sign, so that means it's trining the sign of Taurus, and Taurus is where we're going to have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction literally almost 12 days after this eclipse. So there is some positivity, there is some buildup that is going on here, there is some history, and the only way you can really find out how this is going to affect you according to your own sign is by booking a reading with me. Book me at rachel-mayo.com. Libra, ascendant, sun or moon. Your ruling planet is Venus, and it is being highly activated at the time of this lunation. So I suggest that you go back and listen to the whole introduction, because there's more information that's going to really help you understand how this eclipse is going to affect you according to the placements in your sign. Libra, you are a cardinal sign, so you are one of the signs that's actually going to feel this eclipse much more intensely, and this is because you are currently hosting the south node in your sign, which is opposing the north node in Aries. The solar eclipse is in Aries, your opposite sign, and Aries is hosting a bunch of planets. There is a stellium in the sign of Aries, and this stellium opposes you. So this essentially means that other people are going to be opposing you as a result of this solar eclipse. Your partner or others have a lot of power at the time of this eclipse. Fortunately, you have Venus, your ruling planet, that's ruling the South Node, transiting your descendant. So this is helpful energy. Even though they have even though they may have the upper hand, you still have a say because you're bringing charm and harmony to this situation. The solar eclipse is happening in your seventh house. This is an angle house. So when an angle gets activated at a time of an eclipse, it will activate all the other angles. So this eclipse could essentially change your whole life. The seventh house is the area that rules over all kinds of partnerships, business partnerships, marriages, other types of commitments or agreements. It also rules over our open enemies. Sometimes you could be happily married and then perhaps down the line there is a betrayal of some type, and your loving husband or loving wife becomes your open enemy because now you're fighting each other in court, you're divorcing, and you're separating assets. This is also the house of sex because you need another person most times to have sex. So it is the house of the other. So you will be dealing quite intimately with other people. And just remember, you may not have the upper hand at the time of this lunation, but you do have your charm because your ruling planet is transiting right there in your partnership house. So if you've been having problems in your business partnerships, in your marriage, or other type of commitments, agreements, arrangements, this is the time to heal those bonds. Chiron is here helping you to heal those bonds. And Venus is going to conjunct Chiron. I did mention about the Cinderella aspect. This is quite possible that this could happen for you, that type of Cinderella energy. For those of you who don't have a spouse, perhaps you could meet somebody who's absolutely charming. There could be the man or woman of your dreams, and you will feel like a Cinderella. You'll have a Cinderella moment. So if you are single, you should be on the lookout for somebody new. And it's going to feel absolutely karmic and fated. This is the person that probably will heal your broken heart. So if you're one of those people that has been wounded by a relationship because of past betrayal or just general disappointment in relationships, this is the time that you will probably be able to heal your heart. So keep an open heart. I know you're getting a lot of opposition, but just stand your ground, be patient, don't overreact. So wait for Venus to enter her other sign. She rules you and she rules Taurus, and she is going to be in the sign of Taurus at the end of the month. This will be the time when you will feel much more empowered because Venus will have much more of a say. Even if she's invisible, you have a better chance at negotiating things and reconciling previous deals. However, if a relationship, business partnership, or marriage ends as a result of this total solar eclipse, it is done. It is kaput. Leave it alone. Save your pride. Do not beg. Just walk away. It's been eclipsed. It's being removed out of your life for a reason that you may not understand at this time, but later on it will show you why you're better off. And if you want more intimacy in your relationship, remember that Mars is also going to be transiting in his sign at the end of the month while you're still there. So essentially, you and your partner have this moment when you can really speak to each other. You can speak the same love language. There is something really deep and healing going on here. If this is really a difficult time and you cannot really deal with the emotional pain of loss, or perhaps you just want to know how this eclipse is going to affect you according to your own placement, book me at rachel-mayo.com. Please remember to like this video and subscribe. Thanks. Scorpio ascendant, sun or moon. This total solar eclipse is happening in your 6th house. This is where you'll have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because when you start something totally brand new, something has to come to an end. If you are single and looking, Venus conjunct Chiron is the Cinderella aspect. It could bring you a partner of your dreams. You are one of the signs that could really meet your Prince Charming or Princess at around this solar eclipse. It doesn't have to be exactly on this day. It could take a few months to a few years to unfold. This is the period where this energy is being unfolded to you. Remember that Venus is the planet that rules your seventh house, your descendant. So this is the area where, so and Venus is going to conjunct Chiron. This is the Cinderella aspect that I've been talking about. And if you'd like to know more information about this aspect, you can just Google Magi astrology. You'll find out more information about this aspect. And if you had this aspect somehow in your solar return chart, or perhaps you have it this month in your lunar return chart, it could really make something happen for you. I did mention that Venus is the ruler of the South Node in Libra. It could be that Venus is bringing somebody from your past life, or somebody who you had known previously, maybe earlier in your childhood, and they're back in the picture and they're more attractive than ever now that they're all grown up, or something like that. Since this eclipse is happening in the sixth house, and this eclipse is happening in the sixth house for you, so you could essentially meet this person while you're working at work. I hope it's not your boss, but it's very likely. And it could also be that you meet somebody in a place like a hospital, or a gym, or while you're just running your daily errands. The sixth house rules over our daily routine. It rules over our health, the work that we do. Also rules over our diet and exercise regimen. Scorpio, if you've had an ongoing health problem, you've been sick, you had some type of diagnosis, this is the time that you could find the correct medication. You could be put on some type of healing therapy, or if you have been on therapy, or if you've been on medications and some type of therapy, this is the time that you could feel like you're healed. You're finally complete, you're whole. You are feeling like yourself now. If some of you discover that you have a health issue, this is the time that you will be able to get the correct treatment. Chiron is here to help you heal. So you could also use this energy by changing your diet and adding some exercise to your daily routine. The sixth house is also the house of known enemies. It is opposite the 12th house where we have our hidden enemies. So hidden enemies 12th house, known enemies 6th house. I always tell my clients that your co-workers are not your friends, they are your acquaintances. Because if there's a situation where there's a promotion or some type of competition, trust me, your coworker is going to throw you under the bus to get that promotion, or to get that promotion or pay increase. So your friendly coworker now becomes your competitor, and essentially a competitor is an enemy, and in this situation you know them. For some of you that have been having problems with your employer, this is the time that you may decide to initiate a lawsuit. I suggest that you slam the brakes on that. Mercury is retrograde, and it is, after all, a total solar eclipse. So this means that you may not have all the information. This is time for you to research, gather your information, and perhaps interview a few lawyers. Mars, your ruling planet, is transiting in the sign of Pisces and is conjunct Saturn at this time. So you probably don't need me to tell you to slow your roll. Saturn is going to block you in whatever you're trying to force at this time. This is not the correct time for you to initiate anything major. Wait for this solar eclipse energy to clear up. Once it dissipates, and once your ruling planet has entered Aries, the sign that it rules, and the place where the North Node is, then you have the go-ahead. Because after all, Mars in the 6th house is a fierce warrior. He will fight for you. He will fight for your rights. You will get that kick-ass lawyer that that's really going to help you with your case. Wait until next month when this energy clears. We have another supporting aspect, and that is Pluto, who is currently transiting close to 2 degrees in the sign of Aquarius. He is trining Venus, who's your descendant ruler. So there is energy that is supporting well thought out transformation. Your other ruling planet is looking out for you. Your other ruling planet is being blocked. So you kind of have complicated energy here. You have some negatives that could turn out to be positive, because perhaps some of you will overreact or act impulsively. So you should be grateful that Saturn is putting a blockage in your way. Patience, patience, patience. Trust me, Scorpio, you got this. You are a sun sign, and the sun is exalted in the sign of Aries. So this eclipse could potentially be very positive for you, Sagittarius. And this is because Aries trines your sign. Trine energy is very harmonious and supportive energy, and could have things just fall into place naturally and effortlessly. But you have to take the advice that I gave everyone at the beginning of this video. So if you haven't listened to the introduction, I suggest that you just go and listen to everything. This way you can really understand what is at play here, the degrees that are being highlighted. You can look for the degrees that are being activated and see what is going on in your own natal birth chart. And if you need help with this, I suggest you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. So where is this total solar eclipse happening in your chart? The total solar eclipse is happening in your 5th house. This is where you'll have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because when you have big beginnings, something has to end. However, the 5th house is a very lucky house. This is the house that stores our past life karma, past life good luck. This is a lucky house. It is a house that stores our good luck karma that we earned from a past lifetime. This karma you don't have to work for now. You already earned it, and this solar eclipse is actually triggering and opening up your good luck. So you are one of the luckiest signs. You're going to have positive results from this eclipse. Your life is absolutely going to change. Your ruling planet is not aspecting this lunation. He is transiting the sign of Taurus in conjunction with Jupiter. So there is something also that is actually building up over there. The 5th house rules over our past life karma. As I said earlier, it rules over our creative ability. And what is our greatest creation? It is our children. So it's your ability to create. It rules over your ability to create children. And in order to do that, you have to possibly be involved in some type of romance if you're going to do some type of romance, if you're going to do it the natural way. So it essentially also rules over romance and our lovers. It also rules entertainment. This house also rules over our talents, and the talents that we use, the talents that we can use to create a business that will eventually bring us some type of financial gain and do make a living through your children. Others of you could be healing at this time through their children. Perhaps your children do something really lovely for you, or you haven't been able to see your child in a long time, and finally some problems are resolved and you're able to see your child on a much more regular basis. Others of you could have been pregnant and are giving birth at this time, and because of this child, you will experience healing in your life. Perhaps it was difficult for you to get pregnant, and here is this lovely bundle of joy. It has finally arrived. So if you have a talent and you've been injured, and perhaps you have not had you've been feeling injured in the past few years because of Chiron's transit here, this is the time that you're going to decide. This is the time you're going to decide to just, blow all caution to the wind and go out there and pursue your dreams. However, I will ask you to just hang on a bit. Pisces, like I said earlier, there's Mars and Saturn who are conjoined at the time of this eclipse. This energy squares you. You might be feeling being triggered. Other reasons that have to do with the energy that is coming from the Pisces house. So this eclipse could be so Sagittarius, this eclipse could be a good news, a bad news. Which one do you want first? A bit of both, I say. So if you try to impulsively push ahead, it's probably not going to have desirable results, because you're going to meet with blockages because of the Saturn conjunction. Some of you may decide to start a business at this time. Some of you could have highly talented children, and because of their talents, maybe perhaps they're a child star, you earn a living through your child. So you could be healed financially because your child is the one actually bringing in the money. Not so many people, it's not everybody gets that kind of luck, but some people do have really talented children. If you want to find out how this energy will affect you according to your own natal placements, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Capricorn ascendant, sun or moon. You are a cardinal sign, so you are one of the signs that's going to experience this lunation in a much more intense way. You're going to probably feel triggered. Capricorn and Aries create a square aspect. This is a Mars type of aspect. It requires you to take action. So essentially this means that somebody will trigger you and you might be required to take action. Capricorn, I suggest that you listen to the whole introduction of this video because there's much more information that could fill in some of the gaps. Mars, the ruler of this lunation, is currently transiting Pisces at around 14 degrees of Pisces, conjunct Saturn. This is a difficult aspect. However, in this aspect, you are Saturn, you are ahead of Mars, you have somewhat the upper hand in this situation. So you are blocking Saturn. This could also essentially mean like perhaps a part of you, like I said, you're going to be triggered by people and perhaps you're feeling really, and you could possibly be feeling really angry and wanting to react right away. But because Pisces is an intuitive sign, Saturn is going to tell you, your ruling planet is going to tell you to slow your roll and listen to your intuition or listen to your subconscious and perhaps not act so impulsively at the time of this lunation. You probably will not like the repercussions of your actions. The total solar eclipse is happening in your 4th house. This is another angle house. So once an angle is activated and triggered, especially at the time of an eclipse, it activates all the other angles. So this means that you could have change in any or all areas of your life. The 4th house is the most is one of the most sensitive angles because it's supposed to be our safe place. It rules over our home, our emotions, our mother, our family, our ancestry. So perhaps some of you have been feeling really wounded in this area. Some of you may have had issues with your mother. This is a parental axis, and the 4th house usually rules over the mother or the much more nurturing parent. It could be that your father was the more nurturing parent. So it just all depends on the person. For some of you, it could have been that your parent was ill and in a lot of pain, and at this time they transitioned to the other side, and it is positive in that they're no longer in pain, and now you're accepting this transition and you're beginning to heal. Others of you could have had family problems, could have had major resentments and anger towards your family or your origins, and perhaps you've decided to get some therapy and get some healing, and Venus is bringing this positive energy of healing the home. Whenever Venus is transiting the 4th house, you do get harmony in the house. And for some people who are in a relationship, this could literally mean you have your partner in the home, or your partner is moving in your home, and as a result, there's much more love in the home. So this could be a situation of some type of heartbreak and then healing afterwards. As I said in the introduction, healing sometimes comes with pain, or you have to take bitter, painful medication in order to heal. Some of you may have found out the truth about your ancestry. Perhaps this is you discovering that you have felt this you had always felt this emptiness and not belonging to your family, because you've just now found out that you are adopted, and now is a time of acceptance and healing. It all makes sense now. The 4th house rules over the home. Some of you could be moving into a new house at the time of this solar eclipse, and perhaps you've bought your home. You're the first person in your ancestry to own your own home. This becomes very healing for you, because now you finally have your home and you feel secure. Others of you could be welcoming a family member, maybe a newborn, into your home, or some of you could be deciding to help a sick parent by moving them into your home, and you're healing your entire family in this way. The Mars and Saturn conjunction is happening in your third house. The third house rules over siblings and your immediate environment. So perhaps some of you are dealing with a difficult situation with a family member, precisely your siblings, or it could be a neighbor. And this is a situation where you really need to exercise some self-control. Listen to your intuition. Capricorn, if you'd like to know how this eclipse affects you according to your own natal birth chart, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Please subscribe and like this video. Aquarius, ascendant, sun or moon. This is a favorable eclipse for you, Aquarius. You're likely to get very positive results. This is because your sign sextiles the sign of Aries, where this total solar eclipse is happening. Sextile aspects is an aspect of effort. It's a Mars ruled aspect. You actually have to take some action in order to benefit from this energy. But be careful of what type of action that you take at this time, because Mars is the ruler of this lunation, and he is in the sign of he is transiting the sign of Pisces at around 13 degrees and is conjunct your ruling planet Mars who's at 14 degrees of Pisces. So this aspect could serve as a saving grace, because no matter how much you want to take action, impulsive action, because you're feeling highly passionate about something, your ruling planet is speaking to you via your intuition or psychically, telling you this is not the time for you to react. The total solar eclipse is happening in your third house. This is where you'll have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we have brand new beginnings, we must end something. The third house rules over your immediate environment. It also rules over the mind and your thought process. The third house rules over your siblings. The third house rules over your siblings, your childhood friends. It also rules over computers, gadgets, and social media. It rules also over modern new technology, like the little gadgets that we use every day in our house, our immediate environment. It can also rule the vehicle that you use to drive around your neighborhood. So essentially, this is the house where we have to apply some type of effort in order to get a result. And this is why you're probably feeling that you have to do something, you have to say something, you have to speak your mind. Remember, as I said at the beginning of this video, listen to the whole introduction, you will know that Mercury, the planet of communication, is currently traveling retrograde. So you might make a decision without having all the information that is needed. Wait until after the Kazemi and after Mercury is transiting direct. Some of the things that you might say at this time, you will not be able to take back. Once it's out, said, it's done. Some of you may have been feeling injured mentally. Perhaps you had some type of trauma and now you're dealing with PTSD you're dealing with PTSD as a result. This might be time for you to find healing. Maybe speak with someone, do some therapy, do some therapy and find healing that way. You might have to, it would be a good idea to talk about your past. Mercury retrograde is actually encouraging that you do that. And some of you may have to go back and try and reconcile some relationships with your siblings or perhaps a neighbor. This is a good time to talk about the past. Some of you may also be recovering from some type of mental blockage. Perhaps you've been wanting to say something, or you've been wanting to write something. You've been wanting to write a book, but you just couldn't because Chiron was transiting your house of mind and our house of thought. Maybe your thought processes were not gathering themselves all together, pretty much like how I sound right now, if you get what I'm saying. So if you were feeling injured in that way, you couldn't make sense of your thoughts, this is time perhaps you find some type of clearing and you'll feel healed, and you'll finally get that confidence to put yourself out there, to write songs, to write a script, to write plays, or whatever it is that you write about. This might be the time that you decide that You're feeling whole, you're feeling healed, and you can do this. However, I'm going to suggest that you wait until this energy subsides. Wait until Mercury is moving direct. You need Mercury in order to think properly. You can recollect your thoughts or stories from the past, review them, rewrite them, but do not put them out there until Mercury is moving direct. And since the third house rules your immediate environment, some of you could actually be thinking about moving to another neighborhood. And some of you probably are moving and have already moved, and some of you are moving to another neighborhood. You may find healing in that way. Perhaps you were really uncomfortable in your previous neighborhood, and this is a much more suited and calm environment where you can actually hear yourself think. So Aquarius, if you'd like to know how this energy is going to affect you according to your natal chart, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Please remember to like this video and subscribe. Pisces ascendant, sun or moon. The Mars-Saturn conjunction is happening in your sign. If you have not listened to the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back because it has much more information which is going to help you understand your own natal birth chart. The total solar eclipse is happening in your second house. This is a house of what we love and value. This is a house that rules over our earning ability so that we can support our families. It is the house that also rules the family that we create with another person. This is not the family that you're born into. This is a family that you choose. The second house also rules over your face and your mouth. So essentially it rules what you put into your system and the words that come out of your mouth. This house also rules over our self-esteem. If you're making money, you're earning a living, you have a lovely family, you're going to feel good about yourself. But if that does not describe you, you've probably been feeling injured in one of those areas, and this has been going on for several years because of transiting Chiron in the sign of Aries. So essentially, some of you may have lost self-confidence and self-esteem, and this lunation is bringing some healing energy to your self-esteem and confidence. So if some of you have not been able to provide for your family because you could not work, this is the time that you'll probably find another means. This is probably that you may find a means of making an income, and because you're making money, you start feeling good about yourself, you're providing for your family, your self-esteem is going to be increased. Of course, all these situations are not going to happen for everybody, but some of you could have been injured on your face as a result of an accident and you've lost your self-confidence because of this. This could be the time that you decide that you're going to get rid of that scar through facial surgery of some sort. Or some of you may actually be recovering from some type of surgery to fix a facial scar. However, if you are one of those people who's thinking of doing surgery right now, I'm going to advise you not to do it at this time. First of all, Mercury, the planet that rules communication, is transiting retrograde. Maybe you could have a misunderstanding of what you expect and what the surgeon delivers. And you have to remember that Mars rules knives and precision. So you need Mars to be transiting in a sign where he's not intoxicated, drowsy, and really tired. You want somebody who is coherent and somebody who can be precise and give you a desired result. Mars is going to be transiting his own sign at the end of the month. He's going to be in the sign of Aries along with Venus. This might be a better time for you to book that surgery appointment. Your ruling planets Jupiter and Neptune are not exactly aspecting this lunation. Pisces, this might be one of those eclipses that you might be on the sidelines and watching other people overreact, or just the drama with others, or other people needing your assistance because you're not directly being hit by this lunation, and your ruling planets are not involved in this lunation. You also have some control here because your other ruling planet, Neptune, is currently transiting your own sign. However, Neptune is a planet that tends to dissolve whatever it touches. So there is something to look forward to because Jupiter, your ruling planet, is going to be part of the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus that's coming up within about 12 days of this lunation. That is a very positive aspect. That is a very positive aspect because you are Jupiter. Jupiter and Taurus and Pisces form a very harmonious sextile, which brings opportunities your way. So if you are so try and ignore all the drama that's going on with others at the time of this lunation. And if you can be a helping hand to somebody else, be there for someone, that's really wonderful. Your moment to shine is probably going to come later on with that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Pisces, if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. Leave me a comment in the comment section of this video. I would like to know how this eclipse is affecting you in your own life. Have you seen anything different? Is there a comparison to what happened 30 years ago when Saturn was transiting your sign? I did speak about this at the beginning of this video. So Pisces is having a new cycle, a new 30-year cycle because of Saturn transiting your sign. Saturn transits there for 2.5 years. So you have a bit more time to deal with this energy. And you have your ruling planet Jupiter initiating another cycle, a 14-year cycle with a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And you have a new cycle beginning with the Mars-Saturn conjunction. That's a 2-year cycle. I'd like to hear what's going on in your life, Pisces. Book me at rachel-mayo.com.